Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Ignorant Skeptics Podcast. I'm your host, Bo Walker, coming to you from a different screen this evening because I can't find my laptop charger. But I am joined by Mr. Jason Cephas.
What's going on, guys?
So this evening, we're going to talk about the topic that Mark Carson wanted to talk about, and he's not with us. We're going to talk about the lost city of gold, or El Dorado. All right. So I'm gonna give a little backstory, and then we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes of the episode. So El Dorado, we all have seen the Disney Pixar movie, or was it DreamWorks?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. There's been
the cartoon
on it.
Yeah, we've all seen the cartoon El Dorado. It's based on the lost city of gold, Spanish for the golden. It's commonly associated with legend of a gold city, kingdom, empire, blah, 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 blah. So it all started with the Spanish. This is very important here. Spanish in the 16th century when they invaded South America. So the Musica people, which are an indigenous people in Colombia, they started to cover themselves in gold dust. So gold was very prevalent in this area, and they used it for a lot of rituals. And one of the rituals, they covered themselves in gold dust, and then they submerged themselves in a lake in Colombia called Guatavita. So that is the first iteration of El Dorado that the Spanish saw. So through folklore and different tellings and hearsay, legends, the city of El Dorado took form. And basically, through all of these legends, tellings, folklore, it became an actual city that was made entirely out of gold. So if you have ever seen, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here with the pop culture, but if you've ever seen the second National Treasure movie, they find El Dorado, the lost city of gold.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, they find it in North Dakota, not the Amazon jungle where it is believed to be.
Nope.
So much of the explorations into South America took them through Venezuela, Colombia, Guyana, and northern Brazil, which the exploration trying to find the lost city of gold actually led the Spanish conquistadors, explorers, down the Amazon River. And they are the first people to map the Amazon River. So pretty cool that one of the biggest rivers in the world, if it is the biggest river in the world, what am I talking about, was mapped by people hunting for El Dorado.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to think that like something like that can, something like that happens from a group of people just going out and looking for something.
So, some of the notable explorers in the Spanish that explored and looked for El Dorado, City of Gold, were, you might have heard some of them, Francisco Pizarro. You ever heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of Francisco Pizarro.
I mean, I may have. So here's my thing. But my main knowledge of El Dorado or City of Gold, whatever you want to call it, is, and I feel like we reference this show every episode we do of this, but Expedition Unknown went and did an episode on El Dorado, and I haven't watched that episode in a while, and I was going to watch it prior to us shooting this, but I never had the time to do it.
Yeah,
but that name does sound familiar.
So, quick backstory: Francisco. Oh my gosh, why did I lose his name? Francisco Pizarro was a Spanish conquistador. He led the Spanish conquest of Peru. So on the west coast of South America. South America is like this. He's on the west coast of Peru, or west coast of South America. They conquered Peru. He entered the Incan capital of Cusco, completed his conquest of Peru in January of 1535, founded the city of Lima, which, Lima, Peru. He eventually fell victim to political power struggles, and he was assassinated in 1541.
I hate when that happens.
So, right, he didn't catch a cold and die. He caught a knife. Like, was it a golden dagger? The world may never know. But so there are also some other ones. Oh wait, who was the main one? It wasn't not Pizarro. This is gonna sound really bad, but they talk about him a lot in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which is another reference to the City of Gold.
Yeah, there's a lot. So
there it is. Francisco de Orellana.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
I knew who
he was a relative. Yeah, exactly. He was a relative. Yes, Orellana was a relative of Pizarro. So he was a relative of Pizarro, who also looked for the City of Gold. Jason, I'm just gonna cut straight to the point here. God, they never found it. Hence, why it is called the Lost City of Gold.
Yeah, it'd be a little more boring if it was the
found City of Gold. Yeah,
it would be a little more boring, but
yeah. Now, I mean, there have been, after Orellana, there were probably 30 other conquest or expeditions to try and find this. And we're still talking 1500s, 16th century here.
Yeah.
Okay. So from the 1500s until current day, people are still hunting for this lost city. Okay. I mean, Sir Walter Raleigh even went and looked for El Dorado. Okay. He was in the Orinoco Delta or Orinoco River on the East Coast over by Brazil. Like, they covered from Brazil to Peru. They covered almost the entire Amazon looking for this place. Let's go here, and I'm going to name some of the different locations that they believe El Dorado to be. Okay. Did you have anything to cover before I did this?
No, I mean, I other than my opinion, but we can.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Okay. So throughout history, El Dorado is just one lost city of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are the 7 cities of gold. So we have El Dorado, Paititi, which, if I'm not mistaken, Paititi is also in the Andes Mountains in Peru. Okay. Mm-hmm. We have the city of Caesars, which is a city in Patagonia, mythical city in South America, in Chile and Argentina. We have Lake Parim, which is a legendary lake in South America, also known as the Manoa, fabled city of El Dorado. We have Antilla. Now, this one's a little different. This is a phantom island that was reputed during the 15th century age of exploration to lie in the Atlantic Ocean, far to the west of Portugal and Spain.
A little jumpy there?
I just had a tie-in with a couple episodes ago. Could Antilla or Antilia be Atlantis?
No, I mean
that
was going to be that. So that was going to be part of my my opinion, and that we're kind of getting it. You know, we're kind of into Atlantis territory in the sense that it could be all over the place. You know?
Yeah. Hold on, I'm real quick. I'm just scrolling through this Antillia's Wikipedia page to see if there's stories of islands in the Atlantic Ocean, legendary and otherwise, have been reported since classical antiquity. Utopian tales of the Fortune Islands were sung by poets like Homer and Horace. Plato articulated the utopian legend of Atlantis. So, I mean, they are in the same realm. So, I mean, there is a possibility, Jason.
I mean, never say
There is
never.
a possibility. No, but the last city in the 7 cities of gold is the city of Cibola, which, if you have watched National Treasure, you will know what we're talking about. It's a complex of prehistoric and historic archaeological sites in western New Mexico. So it is believed that that is where one of these lost cities of gold was. Now, people, not saying myself, but I'm saying that one of the people on this show that is not with us tonight believes that the lost city of gold, or Cibola, is hidden in the Grand Canyon. Now, I don't know. I'm going to put my phone down here real quick so I can search something and just see if anything pops up when I type in Grand Canyon. And we're going to see if Mark has a point. I mean, El Dorado is a canyon in New Mexico. It's literally a national landmark.
See, when I was doing research for this, I looked up like Lost City of Gold, Grand Canyon, and I didn't save the article that I found, because I just didn't feel like it was very good. But I remember them making some kind of decent points.
Okay, Lost City of Gold in the Grand Canyon. Do you remember off the top of your head what the name of the link was, or the name of the article?
No.
Secret City of Gold within the Grand Canyon?
Maybe. I don't know for sure.
Okay, well, it's trying to get me to load a YouTube video, and I don't want to do that. So, just skimming this article, they're saying that they found a cave system in the Grand Canyon with the entrance to the cavern is like 1,400 feet down a sheer canyon wall. They found sedimentary formations about 2,000 feet above the riverbed. There's no trail to it. It says there was no trail to this point, but I finally reached it with great difficulty. There was a passageway about 12 feet wide, narrowing to 9 feet towards the further end, about 57 feet from the entrance. There was a passage off to the right and left. Both sides were a number of rooms about the size of an ordinary living room. Some of them were up to 30 by 40 square feet. These are entered by oval-shaped doors and are ventilated by round air spaces through walls into the passages. Intricate ceilings. And then there was a shrine. Like, there were shrines with, like, here, I don't know if you can see. Turn my camera around. These were found in this canyon, in the Grand Canyon. Like, it says they're mummies. Like,
yeah.
I'm seeing my brain breaking here for the first time. They say it could be a temple of the sun to ask for blessings of peace, goodwill, and rain. But as of this writing in 2021, they still wonder if there is going to be any more findings of this place. One day, it says, we all one day will finally be told the true story about this lost subterranean city that was once home to an ancient lost civilization. Dude, that might have sold me. No? Didn't sell you?
I'm still going to need a lot more selling. Like, I just...
So,
I don't know.
So what about the City of Gold do you not what's the word? What are you skeptical about? There, we'll just use that. We'll use the name of the show in the show.
Yeah, exactly what's in the name, City of Gold. Like, I just have a hard time believing that an entire city, and I know city back then is a whole different meaning to, the cities that we know now. I'm not saying that, they had a city the size of Pittsburgh made entirely out of gold. But I'm just saying, even just like, what we would consider like a village made entirely out of gold. I just have a hard time believing that that's a thing.
So
I think I have more belief in Atlantis than I do El Dorado, because in some ways Atlantis, in my opinion at least, is more believable than the Lost City of Gold or El Dorado, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying, I can always be persuaded to change sides, but as it sits right now, I have a hard time believing in it.
So if I give you a little bit more recent evidence, will that tip your scales a little bit?
Depends on what it is.
All right. Well, let's see. Since 2007, a team of international and multidisciplinary researchers, led by Venezuelan archaeologist and explorer Jose Miguel Perez Gomez. Okay, I'm pretty sure he was on the episode of Expedition Unknown.
He might have been. I really wish I would have watched that episode now.
Me too. So his team conducted several expeditions into southeast Venezuela's unexplored jungle areas in search of the storied Lake Parim, which was in Sir Walter Raleigh's original map that he drew in 1595. He came after Pizarro and Orellana. So the team presented its results in 2019 at a bunch of different science meetings in Germany. These results derived from a large amount of data collected from multiple expeditions. They were based on analysis of historical sources, indigenous oral traditions, archaeological and geological studies, digital elevation models, and aerial, along with satellite, remote sensing surveys obtained from NASA's shuttle radar topography missions, and LiDAR. By using these advanced remote sensing technologies, the researchers were able to reconstruct a fossil lake, which is a lake that no longer exists, but you can still see the outline or you can still see the basin where it used to be.
Yeah.
And they can also identify the place where it emptied, so where something happened and the lake spilled out and all the water was washed away. Kind of like Atlantis in Africa. Just saying.
Kind of.
So based on the GIS flood projection models, the flooding computations, that's a word that I've never seen before. The flooding computations for the proposed lake area reveal a body of water much larger than it is wide. So, in fact, an elongated rift lake emerged marked similar to Sir Walter Raleigh's original map in 1595. So, Sir Walter Raleigh was saying, El Dorado's around this area. By everything that he could see, he just wasn't able to find it.
Yeah.
And they're saying that his mapping was correct.
Yeah.
But, plot twist, they still haven't found it.
Yeah. And see, that's where my skepticism comes in. Like, they haven't. Yeah. I'm the type of person where I need to have like concrete evidence that something like this existed.
Yeah, I see. I agree with you now. I'm always gonna be like I'm gonna be the one that's gonna be like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm always gonna side on hoping that it is real.
Yeah, and I just I've always been a skeptic about
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
but I mean there are certain things that I'm not a skeptic in, but for the most part, I just I have a hard time believing in things.
Okay, so El Dorado has been used. The Lost City of Gold has been used hundreds of times in pop culture. Okay, it's a folklore. It's everywhere
Yeah,
in pop culture. I mean, the song El Dorado has been sung by numerous people all the way back from 89, uh, 86, 80, 74, up until 2023. There was a song by a Brazilian musician. Uh, Shakira in 2017 had an album called El Dorado. She had El Dorado World Tour in 2018. Where, if you look at the album cover for her world tour, she is painted gold.
does she know where it is?
Shakira might know where it's at.
She might. She might be. She might have a secret, and she's just not telling people.
Yeah. I wonder if the secret is listening to Hips Don't Lie 75 times on repeat. Okay. Copyright. So in music, it's been used a lot. I'm just Iron Maiden,
It's been used a
Neil
lot in everything.
Young, Shakira, um, ELO, the Electric Light Orchestra. So yeah, it's been used all over the place. Video games, games in general. It was made into a pinball game in 1984. Really wish I could play that. Video games, which literally holding an Xbox controller in my hand right now.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter, Civilization, Age of Empires, Civilization 5. It's Uncharted. Um, Literally, the game 1992 was Inca, was the video game.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's part of where my skepticism comes from,
yeah,
is the fact that there are so many different pop culture aspects to it, similar to what we talked about with Atlantis,
hmm
um, and Bigfoot, like stuff like a lot of these are just so much in pop culture that it's hard for me to believe it when there are so many different things.
yeah. I mean, going into movies. I mean, where do we begin?
Oh
Uh, El Dorado in 1988.
yeah, I
The
mean
Mask of Zorro with Antonio Banderas.
yeah,
The It was DreamWorks, Jason, 2000, The Road to El Dorado.
okay,
That's what it was.
okay,
I mean, National Treasure Book of Secrets in 2007.
yeah,
Fantastic movie if you guys haven't seen it. Um, Something near and dear to my heart, and I feel like it's Jason's as well. Indiana Jones.
oh yeah,
I mean, it was the weakest film of that franchise, but it
yeah.
was a fun adventure. Went to the city of gold. What movie are you about to say was the worst in that franchise? Pause real quick. No, don't pause. Keep this in. We're getting away, but I want to know if you, Jason. So help me God. If you say 3,
I don't know. I mean, Crystal Skull's pretty low.
I mean it is.
Crystal Skull's pretty low. And I'm still very skeptical on this fifth movie. So
Oh, I forgot about. Yeah.
Huh.
It's called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It's coming out on June 30th, 2023. I'm on Indiana Jones's page. I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark, banger. Temple of Doom, banger. Last Crusade, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Perfect movie in my opinion. But we've back to Lost City of Lost City of Gold.
Yeah.
The Lost City of Z, which I didn't know that they made this into a movie. I've actually started reading this book. I picked it up in an airport on my way back from my honeymoon. I want to watch it now. I feel like it looks pretty good. And I mean, it was mentioned in Black Panther in 2018. But Jason, I think the movie that everyone needs to watch to go get a good idea about the Lost City of Gold came out in 2019, and it is Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
You know, I think they're better movies.
There's a lot better movies. I mean, my goodness, I didn't even know this. They talk about El Dorado in one of the biggest shows of all time on Netflix right now, Outer Banks.
Yeah, I've never seen Outer Banks, so
I'm starting to get into Outer Banks.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, that's all part of my skepticism is like it's tied into pop culture so much. I just have a hard time believing. And while I do say that I'm a skeptic on most things, I'm not saying that, 100% no, it nothing like that existed. It very well could have.
Yeah.
But I just have a hard time in believing that it did. So
I agree.
That's where my skepticism is. Like, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying 100% no, it didn't exist. There's nothing like that ever existed. I'm just saying I find it very, very unlikely.
Now, see, I also go ahead.
And it being referenced into pop culture so much just kind of pushes that needle for me just a little bit more. So,
yeah. Now, see, I've also been thinking about this throughout the day. Maybe like I don't want to quote this exactly how they said it in Indiana Jones, but because it went a little off the rails there at the end of that movie with the aliens and everything.
Yeah.
But they said something along the lines of maybe the Lost City of Gold wasn't actual riches, wasn't actual gold. Maybe the gold that they were looking for was a term used for a wealth of another kind. Maybe it be knowledge, wellness. Maybe it was a spring that had very clean drinking water. Maybe it was a wealth of food. Like it was the secret to crop growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
and kind of going back to one of the things we said about Atlantis was my opinion on Atlantis was I don't think that it was just one place. I think it was a lot of different civilizations had a lot of different Atlantises.
Yeah.
And, City of Gold, to your point, could mean anything. It could be an abundance of resources or something that they would consider as valuable as gold.
Gold. Yeah.
So yeah, I just have a hard time believing in it.
Yeah. I mean, would it be nice to be walking through the jungle and come across a temple that's made out of solid 24 karat gold?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it would.
That would be fantastic. But is it going to happen? I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, chances are Chances are probably not. I mean,
yeah.
And I feel like if it were to exist, they would have found it by now.
Yeah.
They
Same thing with Atlanta. Same thing you were saying about Bigfoot.
Yeah, they would have found something by now.
I agree.
So I don't know.
I mean, I was gonna say with the technology, with LiDAR, which strips away the tree layers and it gives you everything underneath. That's I mean, that's how they found some of these, former lost cities.
Yeah.
Like Chichen Itza. That's how they found it. They used LiDAR technology, it stripped away the trees, and they're like, oh, there's a whole complex down here. That's how they found, so
yeah. Like I don't remember what episode it was, but there was an Expedition Unknown episode where they climb to the top of what they think is a mountain, and it's actually a giant temple.
Yes.
There's like a giant pyramid almost that was just, was covered up. And like, maybe it's something like that. Maybe it is out there, and it's just, the Earth has eventually just gotten to it, and to the point where you can't see it, you can't recognize it. So, like I said,
I will say, we have referenced Expedition Unknown a lot on this show.
Yes.
If you listeners have not watched any Expedition Unknown, I personally highly recommend it. It is one of my favorite shows. Okay, it is on Discovery. If you have Discovery Plus, every episode is on there.
Mm-hmm.
All of his spin-off episodes are also on there. Mm-hmm. There's also another show, Jason. I don't know if you've seen it. It is on Netflix. It is called Ancient Apocalypse.
I've heard about it. I've never seen it.
It has a scientist who's pretty well known and pretty well respected when it comes to the Younger Dryas impact theory, which we talked about with Atlantis and things like that. His name's Graham Hancock. If you guys want to watch a good show, I would highly recommend it as well. The synopsis for the show is: journalist Graham Hancock travels the globe hunting for evidence of mysterious lost civilizations dating back to the last ice age. I mean, doesn't get much more Lost City than that show, you know?
Yeah.
While it's not as, it's more scientific and it's a little less entertaining than Expedition Unknown, I will say.
Yeah.
Josh Gates is just really good at his job.
Yeah, he really is. He really is.
But yeah, I mean, Josh Gates, if you're listening to this and you ever want to partner up, I will go wherever the hell you want to go. Just let me know. I got to get my passport, but let me know. All right. But no, I mean, it's very intriguing looking at all of these, potential lost cities that we've lost over the years. Could some of them actually be out there, or are they all myth?
Yeah. And that's,
you're gonna have to tune into more episodes of Ignorant Skeptics to find out. So, Jason, do we want to wrap up here? I think.
Yeah, I'm good.
We good with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Jason, where can they find us?
You can find us on our social medias. We've got Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can listen along on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. If you do go to Anchor, they did just rebrand. I think it's like Spotify, like podcasters on Spotify or something like that. But if you click the Anchor link in our link tree, it still does take you to what Anchor.
I mean, Anchor is run by Spotify. I do know that. It's their, yeah. So
yeah. But I just wanted to clear that up.
yeah, absolutely.
And you can watch videos like this and others like it on our YouTube channel. And when you go to our YouTube channel, be generous and leave us a like, hit subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss a new upload.
Ting!
Good
I was
job.
looking for my microphone and then I realized it's in my ears. I'm dumb tonight.
I'm dumb every night.
Dude, I'm also running on my alarm went off at 3:15 this morning.
Gross.
Yeah. And it's gonna go off at 3:15 tomorrow.
Gross.
And the day after that.
Gross.
But not Saturday because I'm taking the day off and I'm taking my lovely wife out to dinner for her birthday.
Oh, what a good husband you are.
So I know she's probably not gonna listen to this, but happy birthday. I love you. She's not home tonight, so she can't hear everything that I'm saying. So maybe I'll force her to listen to it just so she can hear this at the last, after 45 minutes of us rambling on about a city that probably doesn't exist in the Amazon jungle.
You have to listen to the entire episode.
Exactly, because at the very end, we're going to drop a little sneak peek about what our episode is next week, or in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, we're going to be covering